Good morning. This is Sunday Morning, a news and public affairs program from Cox Media Group, Tampa Bay. I am Jeff Slater with you at this time every Sunday morning to talk about what's going on in the news and what's happening in the news lately in the last 2 weeks. I know you've seen the story on Bay News 9, Fox 13, ABC Action News, WFLA. There has been two attacks on real estate agents in St. Pete. Well, I'm here to tell you this is nothing new. 3 months ago in Houston, Texas, female real estate agent goes out to show a home. She gets brutally attacked and beaten and hospitalized. Last year in Atlanta, 2 female real estate agents raped when they were going out to show homes. So this morning, we're actually going to talk to a female real estate agent and a man who runs Cobra self-defense that's working with female real estate agents on protecting themselves when they're going out to show homes and list homes. Serina Fitzgerald with Charles Ruttenberg Realty on with us this morning. Good morning, Serina.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad you could join us this morning to talk about this important topic. Am I wrong in that? Is this a growing trend? Because I've saw it in Houston, Atlanta, and I'm sure it's going on elsewhere, not just here.
Absolutely. There seems to be much more of it in the media recently. Again, last year, and really what piqued my interest into real estate safety was the attack in Arkansas, where the female broker was actually murdered.
Now, I'm not familiar with that attack. Fill us in.
She had gone to show a property. She was a broker, had been in the business many, many years, actually called her husband from the property. He knew exactly where she was, meeting this individual alone at a home. She was then abducted, and I think it was a couple days later when they actually found her body dumped at a site. And that's really what started the conversation for realtor safety. I mean, I've been a licensed agent for 13 years. I think I've always viewed it just as my job, like anyone else, and you want to believe that you're safe and the risks aren't there, but now it's impossible to ignore the risks. I'm someone who's always worked with a partner, so I have taken some of the appropriate steps for safety. I also tend to work with referrals or with repeat buyers so that I know who I'm working with, but it is a risk. You know, certainly we all want to earn a living and we all want to make that sale, so maybe there are those times where we do sort of override safety protocol that we know would be in our best interest to follow.
But you do work with a partner, and I know Chris Sutton's going to tell us coming up. That's one of the safety tips that he teaches through the C.O.B.R.A defense system. Let's talk about the process. In the real estate business, you're going to go sell a home. You're going to show a home. You get a call. Now, the gentleman that's charged with the 2 attacks here in the St. Pete area, he knew all the questions to ask. He knew the right things to say over the phone to get the realtor there. So you're in that woman's seat, the real estate agent. What are you wanting to hear through the phone from a legitimate buyer? And what's the difference between legitimate and somebody that could do you harm?
It's often difficult to tell the difference. I tend to, as I said, work with a partner and also with buyers that I know. But when you get that phone call from someone who's seen one of your listings or is driving by a property, just dials your number off of your sign, it's obviously very tempting to want to meet them immediately because that could be the one buyer that you're looking for. So I think I'm just very cautious about how pushy they are about the scheduling, the time frame. I try to set the terms about when and where I want to meet them, let them know that my availability is limited so that I feel like I'm controlling the situation rather than them taking control of the appointment.
But you mentioned this is a lot of times a commission-based business, and you've got to make money. You've got to pay the bills. And you may get that call at 9 o'clock at night, like it happened on a Sunday night out in Houston, Texas, and the realtor took the call and went right out and showed that home and got attacked. So you've got to be real cautious about that.
You do, absolutely. And it's really just in getting a feel for the individual, and clearly that's never enough. It's not going to be foolproof. It's never going to be 100%, but you do want to find out, what are they looking for? How long have they been looking? Are they working with another realtor? Are they pre-qualified? Who their lender is? And again, those are some of the questions that were asked last week. And it's not a guarantee. Actually, one of the things that the Pinellas Board of Realtors does to somewhat protect the properties and, of course, the realtors is our electronic lock boxes actually lock at a certain hour. So you do not have access to those homes outside of what your standard work hours would be. So in a lot of cases, they are working to prevent attacks. It's not going to be a guarantee. I mean, I always take another individual to a property with me, whether it's my partner, whether it's a family member, whoever I can get that I would feel somewhat secure that I know I'm going to be there on site.
All right. Now, let's say on the other side, I'm a buyer and I drive around and I say, wow, we've been looking for a while. We don't have a real estate agent yet, but we're thinking about buying a home, and we drive by that dream home. That's the house with a white picket fence and the 4 bedrooms and a pool. That's what I want. And I see that real estate sign and I write that number down. What, as a buyer, do I need to know calling you so I don't scare you off? Because obviously we just started looking.
I'm going to ask questions about you, about your family, about your motivations for moving, things that maybe a criminal or someone with bad intentions might not have thought through fully. I want to have a clear picture of your profile as a buyer. Maybe you don't know the business or the real estate aspect of it. You're not working with another agent, but I want to understand who you are and why you're seeking that home, why that home's the perfect home for you. So that's, again, a conversation where you're feeling that person out.
Would it be better for me and for you if I said, let me make an appointment and come by the office and let's sit down and talk one-on-one rather than over the phone?
Most definitely. But I will mention this, in the time that I have been in the business, there used to be a day where we worked exclusively out of our office. You reported there every single day. And now my business is run from the palm of my hand, and we're mobile, we're remote with everything that we do. So some of that protocol that used to be in place years ago has changed. And maybe that's why we're seeing more of the attacks.
I was going to ask you about that. How has technology changed the way, when it comes to safety, you do your job? Because you're not reporting to an office. You're online now. You've got a website. I know for a fact Charles Ruttenberg Realty has a website, and I can go to that website right now and I can see your picture.
Correct, yes.
Oh, I can find out all things about Serina Fitzgerald before I pick up that phone.
Correct.
So how has that changed the way you operate safety-wise, that the internet is out there and other information?
And I can also use that on my prospective buyers. Anything from even Googling their phone number to see if I can get an ID on it to running a profile check on the name that they've given me. And if it doesn't check out, then you definitely need to be skeptical.
Tell me some stories, and this is kind of related to safety, where you're going to show a home, and it's all legit. You've got a buyer, they've got a mortgage lender, and you show up to a home and surprise somebody inside. Has that ever happened?
I have, absolutely. I have walked into a property, and I have come across individuals sleeping in homes. I have
Squatters?
Squatters,
wow.
Absolutely. And I encountered a squatter with an alarm clock one time, which was rather impressive. But
maybe they had a job interview.
Quite possibly. So it does happen. And again, it goes back to being with buyers or clients that you have vetted, that you do trust, that you do know, so that when those instances do occur, I felt safe in that situation. I mean, clearly you turn around and run and you make a phone call to the listing agent to let them know what's going on at the property, but it's not uncommon. I've had occurrences where I've had to call the police and have the police escort me into one of my listings before.
Wow.
So you do need to reach out. You have to be careful. And I've just learned not to take those risks. If it seems like there's a potential threat there, it's not worth it. Walk away. Okay. There's another day, there's another buyer, there's going to be another client.
I remember about 2 years ago in St. Petersburg, there was a rash of attacks and robberies on landscapers and tree guys. And here's the MO, almost like what's going on with the real estate end of things. A tree trimmer works on commission, needs to make a living. They get paid by the job. They get a call. Hey, we're selling our house. We're trying to spruce up the property and make it nice. Can you come by and give us an estimate? Well, the tree trimmer comes by, and right out front is a real estate sign. Well, obviously, they're selling the house. They want to spruce up the property. Man standing out front, and this is the MO. Meet us out back. I want to show you the trees in the backyard. Tree trimmer, landscaper goes into the backyard, and there's 2 guys with guns. Happened right off 54th Avenue North. People may remember this. Got a gold chain off a guy, got his wallet and his cell phone, and took off running. And then this started happening. It's almost the same thing that's happening with you guys. They're using that real estate sign as a way to get people in there to rob them. So we're talking about real estate, but this can happen to other people.
Oh, it certainly can. And, real estate's not a cash business. So we're not walking around like with a landscaper possibly being paid for a position. So they're really after our valuables, or it's sexually motivated. Or they are looking for, in the instance last week, the ransom that was asked for.
Unbelievable in that story,
that
too.
Is
yeah.
Shocking to hear. So you do wonder what the mindset was going into that.
Now, a lot of times, though, if somebody is going to clean up a property and get it ready for sale and they are the homeowner, doesn't the real estate agent, now I could be wrong because I've never been through the process, they're the ones that call the landscaper and tree guys, right, to set that up?
We could. I mean, anything's negotiable, without a doubt.
Right, so that can all be worked into the deal.
Certainly, absolutely. If that was asked for by a client, that's something that we could definitely take care of for them using our affiliates.
I feel like I'm giving criminals all ideas because now we're going to see pool people attacked. Because you know how many homes have you sold with a rotten pool in the backyard?
That's true.
And you got to tell the client, that mess has got to be cleaned up before we can sell this house. I want to get Chris involved in the conversation. Chris Sutton with C.O.B.R.A Defense Systems. Chris is a full-time owner and operator of a 400-student martial arts school. He's certified ACMA martial arts instructor, MATA Instructor of the Year, lifetime professional martial artist with over 20 years training and teaching experience. Also, the author of the book, The Psychology of Self-Defense. Chris, welcome aboard. You've been dealing with local real estate agents and safety. Is this something new you've been working on, or is this a program that's been going on for a long time?
Well, thank you for having me. This program, C.O.B.R.A Defense, was founded in 2002, and it has a bunch of different divisions, from active shooter, where we teach people how to prepare for an active shooter situation, just to regular basic self-defense, all the way to real estate self-defense. So this has been going on for a while. And when something comes up in the news, we get the call because we are the professionals that deal with this.
Now, how's it different teaching real estate agents than you talked about the shooter self-defense thing? That's got to be a whole separate class, isn't it?
Correct. Yes, it is. We have different divisions. So we have anti-bully programs, active shooter, real estate, corporate, business, personal training. So this is specific to real estate agents because when you are attacked, it's for a reason. Bad guys hunt like lions look for food. They go to the watering hole. I know where there's going to be money at all times, ATM machines, and I can lure you, the real estate agent. I know what you look like. I can lure you to a house by yourself. I can lock you in there, and then I can obtain what I want. And their major goal is not the crime itself, it's to get away with the crime. And that's what we specialize in, making it difficult for them to get away with this by putting in all these stop points. And they're a major soft target. So a soft target is something that is easy to capture. A lion won't pass one gazelle to run after another. Mm-hmm. He's going to get the one that's drinking the water, that got their head down, social media, if you're texting in your car as a real estate agent, or the female with children, the one that's alone, the one that's not paying attention, the one that has no situational awareness. That's the one I want. Criminals aren't going to work hard for something they can get easy.
We were talking to Serina, and she says a lot of times she mentions her partner. Mm-hmm. I know that's something that you have been teaching the real estate agents when it comes to safety out there, is to have that partner. And Serina told us how important that is to her. I mean, is that something that everybody needs to look at, both male and female? Because I don't want to be sexist that we're going to just totally center on female, but men need protection too.
One of the strategies that we use, and we base it on reality, it is not realistic for every agent that gets a call that needs to make that sale immediately, or it's a matter of scheduling, that they will actually have another physical partner. One thing we tell people is prevention is invisible. Okay, as a patrol officer, when I was a police officer, if I sat my cruiser in the middle of the median or on the corner of a street, I did not get to see what I prevented. All the accidents that didn't happen, all the speeding that didn't happen because it didn't happen. So one of the strategies we teach is the immediate perception that you will be there with a partner. You have to create a fake partner. Hi, I'm Serina Fitz. My partner will be here any minute. They were right behind me. Pleased to meet you. Let's get started. So this guy, if they were a criminal and they had bad intentions, you've already told them over the phone that me and my partner will be there, or my partner and I will be there. And when you show up, they're right behind you. They stopped at Starbucks or they caught a red light. They will be here any minute. And it's only fake to the real estate agent because the criminal, if they are a criminal, they don't know the difference. They want to get away with the crime. And if there's someone that's going to show up any minute, that could change their plans in a heartbeat.
We talked to Serina about technology and the way that changed things have done. Do people, in your opinion, when they go out on these calls and showings of homes, have a false sense of security because they've got that cell phone with them, and I can go alone because all I got to do is call 911?
Absolutely. As a police officer, I can speak from experience. There is no cell phone app that's going to save your life. It's like having an app for a parachute when you jump out of a plane. You still really need the parachute. It's not going to save you. So I go to a house and I'm kind of letting down my guard because I got this plastic card in my wallet that says I can carry a concealed weapon. I have an app on my phone. It's a real estate safety app. It's going to GPS my location and take a panoramic picture. Guess what the reality is? It doesn't matter if you notify the police immediately. You got to spend 8 to 10 minutes with me, the bad guy, in a physical confrontation. There's nothing that can circumvent that. You have, I mean, if the officer gets the call, it goes to dispatch, then the officer's 3 to 5 miles away, then he's got to turn his sirens on and race to you. It's going to take 8 to 12 minutes on a national average just to get to your location, and you have to hold this guy off in the meantime. So there's no app out there that can save you.
Now, you keep saying guy, singular. This could turn into a plural situation, though,
Correct.
as a lot of these do, where it's more than one
Correct.
criminal at the scene.
Yes, and another strategy, I'm showing up with my partner. Please stand at the back of your vehicle. It's one of our policies that for safety purposes, my boss wants to know who I'm with. So stand at the back of your vehicle, buy your license plate, and we take a picture and we send it to your fake boss or your fake policy or whatever it is. But here's the catch. Good people don't care that you do this. An innocent person doesn't care that you're taking their picture and sending it off to the real estate office because they're legitimately going to buy a house. A criminal would say, you know what? There's a 100% guarantee that I'm going to get caught. They got my picture. They got my license plate, whether it's mine or not. This is going to be traced back to me. And their number one goal is to not get caught. It's not the crime. The crime's easy to commit. It's getting away with it that's hard. So what you're doing is showing up early, making sure that the property is completely empty, making sure they go in first. You're not on your cell phone texting in your car while they pull up. You keep everyone in your 10 and 2. Life happens at 10 and 2.
10 o'clock, 2 o'clock,
Yeah, you
right?
drive at 10 and 2. You shoot at 10 and 2. You eat at we're talking right now at 10 and 2. And if I have my eyes on you the whole time, it creates doubt. The partner is coming. That creates doubt. And also stopping points such as you pick a specific door, you open it. And I tell agents to carry a 5-inch piece of wood with them and put it at the base of the hinge so the door can never be shut and locked. Because a lot of attacks happen. The agent goes in first. That's a mistake. You've now lost that 10 and 2 advantage. You tell them to go in first. If this is going to be your home, I want you to walk in as though it's the first time you've ever been here. See it with your own eyes without an agent. You go in first. And they walk in front of you. You walk in behind. Instead of you walking in first as the agent, all of a sudden you hear a click, click. The door slams. It's locked. Guess what? Now you have a real challenge on your hands. Another strategy is keeping... Now, a lot of people say, well, I have pepper spray and I have a gun. If you bring a gun into
I'm going to get to that coming up. So go ahead with your thought, though.
If you bring a firearm into a situation that is unarmed, it is now armed. And I do a lot of seminars on firearm training and firearm safety and self-defense. That gun is not your dog. It doesn't care that you bought it, that you sleep with it under your pillow, you clean it, you've named it, you know the serial number. It doesn't care who you are. If you lose it in a situation, it is no longer yours. It has no loyalty at all. And most concealed weapons permit holders, they've done the equivalent of this. Now follow me. You remember your first driving lesson?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Imagine you only drove one time, you passed this test, you got your driver's license. 8 years go by, and all of a sudden, I throw you my keys, and I say, Slater, I need you to go down the street 3 miles on 4th Street at rush hour, get me some coffee, bring it back, obey all the laws, don't get in an accident, and be safe. How well are you going to do?
If I haven't driven a car in 8 years, I'm probably going to crack it up.
So most concealed weapons permit holders, they shoot. The gun goes away. It collects a little bit of dust. Years go by, and all of a sudden you're reaching for a weapon. You don't know if it's on safety, if it's charged. You've introduced a firearm into an unarmed situation, and it takes longer than you think. We test it over and over. C.O.B.R.A is a worldwide program, and instructors all over the world conduct these orientations with people with concealed weapons permit, and they can't get it out from 10 to 15 to 25 seconds. You're fumbling with that gun, and you know that you have to get it out because we've rehearsed it. Same holds true for pepper spray. If you can't get a gun out, you can't get pepper spray out. So one of the strategies we employ with agents, keep a weapon ready and it's out in the open. It doesn't look like one. 409, Tilex, a chemical agent on the kitchen counter that looks like you were cleaning up for the showing. It's sitting right there. But you have the willingness and it is ready to fire. That is more powerful than pepper spray. And I could literally pull you over as a police officer and ask you if you have any dangerous weapons in the car. I could see that 409 spray that you don't need a concealed weapons permit for. And it could be right in my vision. And guess what? You could say, no, officer, there's no weapons in the car. And I'd have to let you go. That is a weapon, and you have to have the willingness to use it, and it's sitting on the counter while you have this prospective buyer in front of you in your sight. The door can't shut because you showed up early and you put that blockade in there. Your partner is going to show up at any time, and also have a fake emergency. If something is making you feel that sense of urgency and you don't know what it is, you just don't feel
your
right.
intuition.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Have a fake emergency. You rather be wrong and alive, okay? Something like my son's school just called. I gotta go. I'm sorry. We're gonna reschedule this. So you've taken their picture. You sent it to the fake. You sent it to the boss because that's the safety policy. The door won't shut and lock. You have a weapon sitting on the counter that they don't even realize. You've parked away from the front door ahead of time and approached and kept them in your 10 and 2, and they went in first, and your partner could show up at any time. So these are all these stopping points and prevention points, and if you weren't attacked, you don't know that you stopped it. It just never happened. And if you tell someone you're showing up with your partner over the phone, they might be a no-show, because the chances of me taking down 2 agents at one time, I'm going to get caught. This isn't going to go well, and I can just move on to the next sucker, so to say.
So, you brought up a very good point when you brought up the whole driving scenario. Awesome analogy there, because I'm a gun owner. I believe in gun ownership as long as you take the courses and use it properly and know the law and know how to use it. But there's nothing more fun on a weekend than going out and killing paper. I know how to use that weapon, and I kill a lot of paper.
Well, what I tell people, if you're going to get your concealed weapons permit, guns work. They're very effective. Clearly, they can
until they take it away from you.
A police officer trains diligently with his weapon. They go through retention training. Retention training is if someone grabs my barrel, how do I get my weapon back? And with all the training that officers have, the statistics show that most officers are killed by what firearm? Their own.
Right.
Because everywhere you go, there's a gun. It's on your hip.
I want to ask Serina, and you don't have to answer this. Are you comfortable around weapons?
No, I'm not. I don't have enough experience
so you
with
do
them.
not have a CWP or anything like that?
I do not, no.
All right, so Chris, you got somebody here right in front of you. She's a female real estate agent, and not being sexist, just saying female, and she's afraid of weapons. What would you tell her other than the Windex or the Tilex or something like that? Boil a kettle of hot water, act like you're making tea or something?
And we actually give a seminar that's called Everyday Weapons, and it's a 30-minute segment. We teach you anti-abduction techniques by the vehicle, because when you show up to a house, you show up with what I call inventory. The bad guy's looking for inventory. You're showing up with your body. You're showing up with debit cards. You're showing up with a vehicle filled with other stuff that I can get away with. So that's why you're being pulled to this location, because you're coming with the things that I already want. And this makes it easy for me. So we show people how to create weapons out of things lying around that don't look like weapons. And if it doesn't look like a weapon, that increases its effectiveness, because I'm not on edge as a bad guy. So what a lot of people used to have in their vehicle, we're going to a more digital era, but what did you have in your vehicle at one point? Everyone had about 3 to 5 years ago.
Tire iron.
That looks like a weapon, though. Break a CD in half. A broken CD is sharp at all ends. If you stab someone with it, it breaks into another sharp object. It can fit behind your hand or in your purse. It's silent. You don't need a permit for it. And it's a great stabbing device, and it looks like a piece of junk laying on the ground.
I saw a guy at a flea market once selling a device, and he was selling these things, ton of them, and it looked like a mini nightstick, but it was a keychain. And his theory was, and he was telling ladies at the flea market this, when you grab that, it's almost like a mace. You use your keys as a weapon, but he said psychologically, and I want to know if you believe this or not, he said psychologically, when you grip that thing, it empowers you. It gives you a sense of empowerment that you could win this fight in this situation. Is there truth behind what he was teaching?
Empowerment is one thing, but application is something totally different. Now, we do a segment called Myth Busting where people come in with all these things that they think are going to work, and we show them plain as day in real time they don't work, and this is why, but this will work over here. So I do seminars, and people will put their keys between their fingers. I'd punch them. I say, well, no, you won't, because it actually falls out the back. We test it over and over. And when's the last time you actually punched somebody? So we put it in the hand as a stabbing device. And yes, when you have something that could protect you, it is empowering. Ladies with big rings, and this is another strategy. Buy a ring that you wear during showings that is not your favorite ring, but protrudes from your hand, like a big diamond ring, but it could be fake. Instead of punching someone with that small surface area, spin it in. It's on the inside of your palm. Because real-time combat happens at close quarters. So you might get one punch off and then some guy grabs you. Now you have no ability to punch anymore. Open your palm, put it at the top of his forehead, grab his hair with the other hand, and pull down. That's 100% striking surface, 100 times more effective than punching with a little ring.
And you're more likely to have some of his DNA with you if he runs out the door.
Absolutely, absolutely. What everyone has that's very painful to get hit with, more so than even a fist, a USB cable. You charge your phone, wrap that thing around your hand, leave about 6 inches out. When you swing that through the air, it makes a whistling sound that no one wants to get hit with. So these are weapons that you can have while your hand's in your purse showing the place. You got that broken CD, you got that USB port, you have this ring that you specifically bought that you rotate in, and I can't visually see these as a bad guy as a threat. Because these are common things that are just lying around. There's Windex over here. We got a partner showing up. So you've put all these stopping points in, and he's not going to climb the highest mountain when there's smaller ones with the same bounty. Does that make sense?
Right. No, it makes total sense to me.
I can get another agent out of here that's got their head down when I show up on social media. They walk in front of me. They haven't taken this course at all. They're just an easy target, and I get what I get, and I'm out. That's how you got to think like a bad guy to plan for them.
Serina, what have you gotten out of Chris's classes? Because you're over there nodding your head and smiling the whole time. Obviously, you know all this already.
It has been eye-opening. You don't know what you don't know until you take this course and you are aware of it. Really, it comes down to training, because would you have thought of any of those tactics?
No, the CD thing is what blew me away, because I never thought of that. That's a great idea.
Exactly, but it's about training, and it's conditioning, and then also being able to respond in that during that threat as well, because of the adrenaline rush. You need to know that you have practiced this, you are experienced, you are able to actually follow through when you're under attack, because it's not enough just to hear it once. I mean, in Cobra, they run through drills time and time again, and it's I've done one-day seminars with them, and then there's also a full 10 weeks of training that Cobra will run you through all of the different scenarios out there. So really, it's about practice and training to know that you are able to act.
We've almost killed a half hour here, and we got more and more to talk about. In the next minute and a half, Chris, is there something we didn't touch on that you feel is important people need to hear?
Well, Serina hit on it perfectly. You don't know what you don't know, and when you walk into, when you surround yourself with the holy grails of safety and they don't work at all, and no one's told you that or shown you that, I started out in corrections and I went to law enforcement, and a lot of the stuff we see with improvised weapons I got from inmates. Watching inmates grow their thumbnail really long, sharpen it on the concrete and hold it on the inside of their thumb. So I have a good insight as to how these criminals think and they plan for an attack. And here's what you need to understand. They are criminals 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
It's their job.
That's all they think about, is how to get what they want from you, the law-abiding, productive citizen, and get away with it. You don't wake up thinking, how do I not get attacked today? How do I not? We don't think about it until it's happening. So in Cobra, we recreate scenarios. And what a scenario is it imprints into your brain immediately how to deal with this. So if it ever happens again, you have that frame of reference. Like you said, shooting on paper, I can take the same gun and the same person and put you in a live shootout, and you're not as accurate, and things change until you do it a couple times, and then guess what? You can deal with a real-life situation. We offer these courses in one-day camps, seminars, 10-week programs, and, if you're walking around with cell phone apps, concealed weapons permits, and a good dose of being just naive about your own personal safety. Remember,
you're going to be a victim then,
yes.
Yeah.
You're born into this world with no training unless you actually get it. Now you're a professional, you're an adult, and you have zero training, and you're out there meeting new people every single day that you don't know anything about. All right, and it just takes that one person. That agent you were talking about in Arkansas, 30 years on the job.
Wow.
30 years. She told her husband where she was at, but it wasn't good enough because she had to pass the test with that criminal because the cops won't be there. Your husband won't be there. That's why it's happening to you, because you are alone and you are that soft target.
Chris, do you have a website for the Cobra self-defense systems?
Yes, sir. COBRADefenseSystem.com. COBRADefenseSystem.com. Our real estate specific is selfdefenserealestate.com. Selfdefenserealestate.com.
All right, and Serina, any closing words from you over there? You've been great in just nodding every time Chris says something. I know it's already sunk into your head that you've already been through all this training.
Absolutely. And it's about awareness. It's about acknowledging that it could happen at any time and planning and preparing for it. So it's taking that step, going above and beyond just to be safe with your job. Look out for your colleagues, look out for your friends, and just, share this information with just one other person, because it really can save a life.
All right, Serina Fitzgerald from Charles Rutenberg Realty. Thanks for joining us this morning. Chris Sutton with Cobra Self-Defense System. That's CobraSelfDefenseSystem.com. Correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you so much. Great information this morning. This has been Sunday Morning, a news and public affairs program courtesy of Cox Media Group, Tampa Bay.